The needle slips. You don't make a sound. You press your thumb against the small bead of blood and hold it there, sitting perfectly still while the seamstress continues her work around the hem of your new gown. Ivory silk, foreign stitching, a color chosen by people you have never met for a ceremony you did not choose. Outside the window, you can hear them. The crowd has gathered in the courtyard below. They are cheering. They have been cheering since dawn, because to them this is the end of something terrible, and you are the proof of it. A living seal on a document. A symbol stitched into silk. You are 17 years old. Your mother squeezes your hand once, quickly, the way she does when she wants you to know something she cannot say aloud, and then the seamstress steps back, and the room fills with the smell of beeswax candles and rose water, and the particular cold air of a castle that is not yours. You look at your reflection in the copper mirror. You look like a princess. You have never felt less like yourself. You have known about this since you were 12. That is when they first said his name at supper, quietly, between bites, the way adults say things they hope children will absorb but not question. A prince. Across the mountain range, across 2 rivers and a disputed valley that has cost both kingdoms more blood than anyone will count aloud. His father killed your uncle. Your father's army burned 3 of his villages. These things are true, and everyone at this table knows them, and no one says them directly. What they say instead is an arrangement. What they mean is you. In the years that followed, you learned the geography of his kingdom the way other girls learn embroidery, with patience, because you had to, because one day you would need it. You learned his language in secret sessions with an elderly tutor who smelled of wood smoke, tripping over the consonants that didn't exist in your own tongue. You learned which of his nobles were loyal and which were ambitious, because your mother, who had once been treated the same way, understood that knowledge was the only thing they couldn't take from you when you crossed the border. Watch everything, she told you. Agree to nothing they haven't promised in writing. She said it like a prayer. She said it like a warning. She said it like someone who had learned it far too late. The war has lasted 11 years. It has swallowed harvests and brothers and whole villages. The common people on both sides are exhausted in a way that goes deeper than their bones. And so the kings have decided, as kings do, sitting warm around a fire, that the simplest solution is to bind their bloodlines together. Your blood. His name. Peace, written in the language of your body. The journey takes 9 days. You travel with a retinue of 12 ladies, guards, a steward, a priest, but by the 3rd day you understand that none of them are truly yours. They are witnesses, record keepers. They will report back to your father on the condition of the arrangement. You eat what is given. You sleep in a curtained wagon that smells of damp wool. You do not cry, because you promised yourself in the copper mirror that you would not, and because the lady sitting across from you has a face like a ledger, recording everything. When you arrive, it is raining. His castle is larger than yours. Older. Built from gray stone that seems to absorb the light rather than reflect it. The people who line the road to watch you pass are quiet, which surprises you. You expected curiosity. What you see instead is something more careful, an evaluation, the way people look at a bridge they aren't certain will hold. You lift your chin. You keep your eyes forward. Your mother's voice in your ear. Let them see nothing that costs you. He is waiting at the top of the great steps. He is not what you expected, though you cannot say what you expected. He is perhaps 5 years older than you. He stands the way men stand when they have been told since childhood that their posture is a form of power. His expression is, you will spend weeks trying to name this, not unkind, but entirely closed. A door with no handle on your side. He takes your hand and says, in his language, the formal words of welcome. You answer, in his language, the formal words of gratitude. Everyone applauds. You are not introduced. You are installed. Your days find their shape within the first week. You rise before the household, because sleeping late is considered a sign of weakness in this court, and you cannot afford to be considered weak. You dress in the clothes they have prepared for you, cut in their style, dyed in their colors, because your own trunks have been unpacked, but somehow your own gowns are never the ones laid out. This is not an accident. You understand it is not an accident. You say nothing. You eat breakfast with his mother, who is a narrow woman with extraordinary posture and the habit of watching you the way a falconer watches a new bird, assessing whether you are trainable. She speaks to you slowly, as one speaks to a child or an idiot, though your grasp of the language is now adequate, and she knows it. You answer her questions with the same careful brevity your mother taught you. You do not volunteer. You do not perform warmth you don't feel. After breakfast, there are lessons, not in statecraft, not in history, but in the domestic ceremonies of this court. The particular way bread is broken at formal meals. The order in which guests are greeted by rank. The prayers said before and after. The correct way to walk into a room where he is present, which is 2 steps behind and to the left, which means you are always in his peripheral vision and never quite in his direct line of sight. This, you understand, is intentional. You are learning your place. This is what the lessons are for. There are things you are not allowed to do. Send letters home without them being read first. Walk in the outer courtyard unaccompanied. Speak to the castle's servants in the common tongue without an interpreter present. Attend the meetings where his council discusses the terms of the peace, even though the peace is, in a very direct sense, you. You learn to exist in the narrow corridor of what is permitted, and in the small hours, after the candles are extinguished and the lady-in-waiting has finally stopped pretending not to watch, you lie still in the enormous foreign bed, and you go back over every conversation of the day, cataloging what you said, and what you should have said, and what you must never say, building the architecture of your survival one careful brick at a time. Some nights he comes to the door of the adjoining chamber and pauses there for a moment. You can see the shadow beneath it, the stillness of him, and then the shadow moves away, and you exhale, and you are not certain what you feel. Relief. Something else. You don't examine it. There is a girl in the kitchen, barely older than you, with flour on her hands and a directness in her eyes that no one at this court seems to have taught out of her yet, who smiles at you, genuinely, the first week you are there. You think about that smile for days. It costs you nothing to receive it, and you are rationing it out like bread in winter, returning to it when the days are very long and the walls feel very close. You begin to learn the sound of this castle, which floors creak, which hallways echo, which windows look east so you can watch the light come up over the mountains that are on the other side home. You learn him, too, the way you learn a climate, gradually, through exposure, without meaning to. He is not cruel. This surprises you, and then you are ashamed that it surprised you, and then you are ashamed that you are ashamed, because nothing about this was your choice, and you owe no one the comfort of your gratitude. He is careful with you the way people are careful with something they have been told is fragile. You are not fragile, but you understand why he thinks so, and you have decided, for now, to let him think it. It happens in the 4th month, in the Great Hall, during the formal dinner held to celebrate the ratification of the peace treaty. The hall is full. Torches, the smell of roasted meat and tallow. Men your father's age wearing chains of office and the satisfied expressions of people who have solved a problem. The treaty itself is there. You can see the vellum rolled on the side table, the wax seals of both kingdoms hanging from it like dark ornaments. Your seal is not on it. You have no seal. You are in the treaty, not a party to it. You are seated beside him, as always. His uncle is across the table, a large man, loud in the particular way of men who have always been listened to, and he is telling a story about the last campaign, about a village on the border, about what happened there. He tells it as though it is a proud thing. You keep your face still. You have become very good at keeping your face still. And then the uncle says your father's name, not with hatred, which you could absorb, but with contempt, the casual contempt of a man who has already won, and he laughs, and the men around him laugh, and you watch your husband's face for what he will do. He does nothing. He picks up his cup. He drinks, and you understand, in this moment, something you have been carefully not understanding for 4 months. that his stillness is not restraint, it is agreement. He is not a prisoner of this arrangement any more than the treaty on the side table is. He is its author. He chose this too. He chose you, not cruelly, not personally, but as one chooses a useful instrument. You pick up your own cup. You drink. The uncle is still speaking. The torches are still burning. Somewhere in the kitchen, a girl with flour on her hands is washing dishes and probably humming. You think of your mother, crossing a border just like this one. You think of the letter she sent with you, sealed, private, for your eyes, in which she wrote, "You will want to hate them. Sometimes you should. But save your energy. You are going to need it for longer than you think. You have been saving it. You have been very careful about what you spend. But tonight, for a single moment, just one, you allow yourself to feel the full weight of what this is, what you are, what they have made of you as easily and practically as they made that treaty on the table, and with about as much thought for what you might want. The feeling is enormous. You put it away. You smile at something the man to your left has said. You refill your cup. You survive the evening as you have survived every evening, as you will survive the next one. Spring comes to the valley in a way that seems almost aggressive, all at once. Green pushing up through the gray, birds arriving like an announcement. You stand at the eastern window in the early morning, before the household wakes, before the day assigns you its instructions. The mountains are visible today. They're almost the same mountains you grew up watching. Almost. There's been no fighting since the winter. No dispatches of soldiers moving through the lower roads. The villages, you are told, are replanting. Children are being born who will not know what it was like before. This is what you have bought. This is what you are. You try to feel it as something. Pride, maybe. Meaning, you try. He appears in the doorway of the chamber. He has started doing this, not asking, simply appearing, which you have decided to allow, and he stands there for a moment watching you watch the mountains. He says, "You look tired," and you turn from the window, and you look at him, this man, this stranger who is technically your life now, and you say, very calmly, "I am well." He nods. He believes you, or he chooses to believe you, which in this court amounts to the same thing. He leaves. You turn back to the mountains. You are 17 years old, and the war is over, and the peace has your name on it. And somewhere on the other side of those peaks, your mother is waking up in a room she chose, in a life that was, at least partly, hers. You wonder if she still remembers what that felt like. You wonder how long it took her to stop wondering. The light is coming up now, gold along the ridgeline, and the valley below is waking slowly, and you stand at the window and watch it. And you are still watching when the lady in waiting knocks at the door to tell you it is time. It is always time. You turn from the window. You go. She had been purchased with blood, and she had purchased peace with herself. No one had asked which price was higher.